Hello and welcome to Small Town Big Business, a podcast about doing big business in small town rural America. I'm Jennifer Olson, Director of Business Development for the City of Marion, and I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Russ Williams, Director of EThOs. EThOs is a small business incubator, co-working spaces, training and development center here in downtown Marion, Illinois. Welcome. Glad you could join our podcast today. We also want to welcome and thank our sponsors for making the podcast possible. So I'll name those: Arcadia Wealth Group, Banterra Bank, Black Diamond Harley Davidson and RV, Fowler Heating and Cooling, Southern Illinois Now, Swinford Media Group, our producer at Union Street Arts, and of course the Watermark Auto Group Foundation.
Well, we're very excited to be here this morning. We have Shawn Hughes, and he is with Vernell's Interstate Service.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So give us kind of the overview of all of the services that fall under the Vernell brand.
Brunell's Interstate Service does everything from towing to heavy repair on diesels and heavy equipment. They have a full stock parts department. We do parking as well. We have parking available for over-the-road trucks and stuff like that at our location. We also have a full line of tires that we sell out of there as well. And our road service, they do a lot of your unlock, stuff like that. And also on the side of the interstate, keep everybody moving and going.
So only big rigs and heavy, or when you say the lockouts?
We also do light duty as well. Yeah, we have light duty tow trucks and them type of things.
Okay.
How long have you been in business?
Brunell's has been in business over 60 years.
So you're not the founder?
No.
So
No.
Tell us what you know about the original company.
The original company was founded by Brunell Sellers and was founded in Heron in his garage. And then they moved to another location in Heron where they started a body shop. And then from what I was told by Vernell, in like 1984, there was a tornado come through. And he bought right there at the truck stop area where everybody was scared to buy because the tornado came through. And then that's whenever we started that location.
Okay.
They worked out of service trucks before they even had a building. They just had service trucks sitting there on the property, and they just worked out of them, and then gradually worked their way up to a building, and then added on to that, and then just kept growing. Brunell was very diversified. If it was a problem, he was going to take care of it. Mm-hmm. I've been there for 21 years, and I got to spend a couple years with Brunell before he had had a stroke and got out and had to get out of the business. And I learned a lot from him then, just as far as relationships and that type of thing. And then we've just kept it going from there.
So you're located on the interstate, but tell me about how big is your service area and how many employees are serving that region?
We have about 32 employees, and our service area, I would say, is probably within 2 hours of our location.
Pretty big.
And that's for like our road service, that type of thing. To do our towing, we've went as far as Florida, Mexico. We've went all over.
You said you've been with the company for 21 years. So where did you start in the company?
When I started in the company, I started as a diesel mechanic. I'd done heavy duty repairs, engine rebuilds, and that type of thing.
What size was the company at that point?
At that point, we was still about the same size we are today. Okay. Brunell's Interstate Service has so many different entities. It's like 7 companies in one. So we want to grow and that type of thing, but you really got to focus on maintaining.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's been around a long time in this area. We have a good reputation, and that's something you gotta. We're more concerned with maintaining our reputation than really growing in numbers.
Right. You want to make sure your customer service is
That's right. That's the most important.
Yeah. What other values does the company have that you try to instill either in your employees or the people that you serve?
I guess it'd be, biggest thing is that, well, we're 24 hours. So our thing is that we're there. We don't, a phone call happens, everybody's a priority.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if your car's locked up over at Menards or you're out on the interstate, you are a priority to us. And I think that's the biggest value that Vernell's Interstate Service has. And that started with Brunell. And he always would say is that, no matter what the situation, we're on our way.
Yeah, if you're stuck on the side of the road, you want someone to answer the phone.
And and like I said, it's not, we don't base it by priority. Everybody that calls is a priority.
That's good.
I mean, I feel like you're meeting people in a I won't say the worst time of their life, but they're in a high distress. It might be considered an emergency to them. Like, how do you train your younger folks that come on board or your new folks to kind of be equipped to handle the emotion of the person you're trying to help?
Yeah, we definitely are not a business that people want to call. We're a necessity, and that's what we train our people on is compassion. Let them know that you are there to help and that type of thing. And to be able to be patient with that person because they are in a bad situation. They're already, by the time that we get to the situation, things are pretty rattled up. And my guys do an extremely good job of making a bad situation a good situation.
Yeah. Did you already say how many trucks you have out there that could go rescue people?
Right now we have 16 power units.
Yeah.
So that's 5 service trucks, four big heavy wreckers, 3 medium duty wreckers, and then we got tractor trailers and different things.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of the whenever you hear about the interstate shutting down because a semi turned over, we go out and we recover them as well.
Okay.
So we have to have quite an arsenal of equipment.
Yeah. And employees, do you tend to keep people for a long time, or is it high turnover, or what?
On the heavy duty repair side, we have a lot of the employees have been there anywhere from 5 years to 30 years. That's on the ones that do the overhauls, the big major repairs, take care of our wreckers, that type of thing. On the emergency service side, where we do just tires and 2-hour repairs, there is a turnover. There's anywhere from, probably the most there would be from 5 years and down on that side. But what we try to do is incorporate training in that and try to get them to advance into the other. Like I said, it's so many different entities because of what that person wants to do. Some just want to do the tires and they get the satisfaction from that. They just want to go out and change the tires for them and do the light duty tows. And some want to get into rebuilding engines and stuff. So then we have to shift gears and train that individual to be able to provide that service.
I know you probably require CDL. When I think about that heavy duty, getting that tractor trailer out of the center median, for example, I know it's not just rip it and grip it. I know there's a lot of determining angles and blocking and prep. Like, how do you train for that kind of work?
We have, we have training ourselves that we do, and then we have managers that go and actually have, like, actually rec training.
Okay.
And then they bring that back and then train into that. We have a team of about 6 guys. And that's the ones that go and do that. You don't just pick whoever to go out there and do it. There's a safety issue, everything else. Safety's huge in our company because we want all of our employees to come back. And on that interstate, it can be pretty hectic. But every ounce of the recovery side of it, where we train and train and train to where, and like I said, we call it our recovery team. And certain guys want to be on it, and certain ones go out there once and say, I don't want to be on it. Right. Well, we obviously don't make them. Right. But we have a good team. The recovery team right now, it's made up of about probably, as far as time spent there, the employees have been there. They've all been there anywhere from 10 to 30 years. Right. So
it makes sense to me. I mean, it's not just that the task is dangerous to a level and requires a lot of safety planning, but also their workspace is, not ideal. You're not out in the middle of a field. So you got to deal with all the people who aren't watching for you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Protect yourself.
So imagine the times you go out, it might be even seasonal, like I think of winter and ice and those kinds of things. But what's the top number? Like how in 1 week, what's been like a crazy number of times that you've sent the trucks out to rescue somebody?
The craziest number, we done 7 recoveries in a day.
Oof.
Yeah.
We was all over the interstate, and then of course we do the side roads as well, on into Harrisburg and everywhere else. And we done 7 recoveries in one day.
Yeah.
And that wasn't in the winter or nothing.
Yeah.
Wintertime is, you're obviously busy, but to do a recovery, when we call recovery, that truck's in bad situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either on its side or down in the hill or something like that.
Right.
But we accomplished it. We did get it done.
And then maybe I don't know if there is a typical, but is it a typical week? Is it just like once or twice?
In the recovery side of things, we honestly, we do not get excited to have to do a recovery because that's a lot of loss. Mm-hmm. And that comes back to the same thing as where we have to train our people and everything to talk with these companies and deal with them and stuff. A recovery, we hope that we can keep them down, honestly, to maybe we do 1 a month.
Right.
And then if it's longer than that, that's good too. But construction, a lot of different things contribute to that.
Yeah.
So, you talked a little bit about customer service, doing the right thing. So that would bring you repeat customers on the areas. Obviously, you don't want repeat recoveries, but when you're talking about tires and diesel work, that's repeat. But are there people who you maintain relationships for referrals? And I'm just throwing out, is it the police? Is it the insurance company? Like, are there other people who send you work?
Oh yeah, we have good relationship with the police departments, different things. And also different servicing companies that they'll call because of our past history and our capability. So like insurance companies and different things. We have a good rapport with several different companies that like what we do.
Do the big trucking companies, the big brands that pass through Marion, do they kind of have their favorites or their go-tos?
They used to, more so now than ever. Them companies hire another servicing company to take care of their maintenance and stuff. So it'd be like fleet service, and that's what we go and get involved with the fleet service companies. So you'll see big names come through, but them same big names, there'll be 3 big names that are all out of the same service company.
Okay.
So you have to really get tied in with the service company before the name.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And I really didn't know anything about the whole sector of kind of that fleet management until touring the tech center at SIU, because they may turn out some people who are going into kind of the entry level turning of the wrench, but really what their graduates are doing are these big time fleet managements. They're working for the big companies, and I'm just always fascinated that that's a job. That's a thing that people do. But
yeah. So on my side, if I'm the trucker or the traveler and I break down and you bring me into Marion, Illinois, so I don't know anything about Marion, Illinois. So do you guys help people get this is where you can go eat. This is where you can find a place to stay. Do you help any in kind of a concierge?
Yeah, and our location has helped tremendously. One, because of where we're located, but just so many things that Marion have to offer. That's the first thing that we let them know. And then we do, if you're interested in, what would you like to eat? Then we will find somewhere that we can take them or get them to, kind of let them pick, kind of give them, let them know a little bit about what Marion's about while they're there. Yeah. Kind of give them the options.
Yeah. So it's a good place to break down.
It is a good place to break down.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
Shawn, are you born and raised here, or what's your background before you joined Vernell?
No, I wasn't born and raised here. I was born and raised in around Springfield, Illinois.
Okay.
And actually, I was a service manager at a trucking company there, and we was hauling coal.
Okay.
And we had 300 trucks, and we was running down to the power plant. We came down south for the weekends to help move it. Well, I was in charge of finding somewhere to repair the trucks, and I established a relationship with Vernell at the time, and I was unhappy there, and I said, "You doing any hiring?" And he says, "You got your own tools?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Come on."
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of that's where I've been.
That's awesome. What has been some of the challenges of owning the business for 21 years now?
Well, I don't own it. I run it and operate it. But some of the challenges in that is getting people to provide the type of service that you want to provide. Building that team. Mm-hmm. Well, I have an extremely good one. I'm very fortunate for that. But that's probably the biggest obstacle that I run into, is having. I know how I want to provide the service. You have to trust your employees and everybody else that they're going to provide that same service.
Right. Yeah. You can't be on every.
I can't be everywhere. That's my problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I think that I need to be, but I've gotten a lot better at that. And like I said, I've got a really, really good team out there. So.
Yeah.
But I always think that I need to be in it. So it's not anything, it's not a struggle really for them. It's more for me.
Right. You got to trust them.
Yeah. And Vernell laid just a wonderful platform, and we continue that business as he did and how he started it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we haven't, of course you have to move with the times and stuff like that. And that's a lot what I try to do is see what the changes are and see where we need to shift gears with the business. Yeah. But as far as just the overall why we show up every day, it's the same as it was 60 years ago.
Yeah. Has some of it changed with culture? Because I know that, for instance, back maybe 30, 40 years ago, if you need a day off, you really need to plan well. You couldn't just ask for a day off because my kid is sick at home, or, things like that. A little bit more flexibility today.
Well, we pride ourselves actually on that. We've most of my employees, and I tell them all the same thing, is that family's first. Yeah. At the end of the day, that place is going to continue to run. It's a business. Yeah. We take that family owned and operated very seriously, and we do. If they have a problem with a kid, like I said, I got a wonderful staff that this one will fill in for that one, or this or that. And especially in the event that it's a bad situation that they need to be there, then we're going to take care of them people. I mean, good people's hard to get, and we focus a lot on what their heart is, because we want them for a long time.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that sounds like more than a staff. You have a team.
Exactly.
That makes a huge difference.
It does.
So when managing a team, you wear a lot of hats. So what's your favorite part of the job, and what's your least favorite?
My favorite part of the job is probably getting to interact with everyone, getting that time that I am their boss, but I'm also their friend. Being able to have that kind of relationship, that's probably the most best. Obviously. I'd like if I got to work on trucks more, that'd be great. But I also can do that whenever I want too, So you kind of got that perk. But
yeah. So I'll ask you a question that no one likes to answer.
Sure.
What's been a disaster in the business that you got over and you learned from it? Can you think of anything that has been really, really tough to get through?
What's tough in our business is any mistakes that we make with heavy duty equipment or anything. If just for instance, if we do a tow and things move, and it happens, and they cross when we're towing and something happens and the oil pan breaks or something. Yeah. them are very costly repairs.
Yeah.
We spend a whole lot more than we make for repairing that.
Yeah.
That's the things that I'd say probably makes me really cringe the most.
Yeah.
And accidents happen, but they are at the heavy duty level. They are so expensive.
Yeah.
And not only that is that's our reputation.
Right.
And I do not want anything to hurt our reputation.
Right.
So you have to really shift it into high gear, because then you got to take care of that customer. You got to invest in that customer. You have to fix something like that. And that I've always considered, a normal day is, keeping that hamster wheel spinning.
Right.
And when something like that happens, it almost stops.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
Yeah. So you're looking out for those things
Exactly.
ahead of time, right?
Exactly.
You're trying to remind people, hey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And trying to prevent them.
Right.
So that's why we do training and we do this and then different things. We have different protocol for how we do things, And like I said, accidents are going to happen. But in that towing world, when they do happen, it hurts.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of rumors that sometimes get exaggerated in different industries. So when I'm thinking about how things are changing, like two that I would hear, one would be about non-English speaking drivers, and the other would be about challenges by increased EV vehicles on the road, and especially if there's a fire. Mm-hmm. So are those things that are legit that you're seeing, or are they exaggerated?
They are a lot. There's a lot of them that do not speak English. We do run into that, and with same way as we try our best to have that compassion with them. A lot of them, I've talked to several, and we immediately want to get mad because they don't speak like we can understand, and this, that, and the other. But I have talked to some before. You got to have some compassion for them, because they're brought here with the impression that they're going to make this amount of money. And a lot of companies throw them in the trucks, and then anything that goes wrong or whatever, by the time they're done, they're just doing that and not making any money. So yeah, that's one of the problems, but it's not I don't want to make it sound like it's it's just because they can't speak English.
Right.
That type
There's
of
a
thing.
lot more layers to it.
There is. And then as far as the EV vehicles, stuff like that, we try to stay up. We go to Springfield and different things, and we try to stay up with our legislators. I like emissions and that different thing. Then things are coming, but I think that we're still several years. The cars, they're out there, electric cars and stuff, and we sent guys to be trained on how to properly tow them and all that type of thing. But infrastructure is still very, very far from. I hope that I don't see it anyway.
And I was thinking more about service or like fire risk, but when you said towing, I was reminded how heavy EV vehicles can be, because I'm understanding they're pretty hard on tires and things like that.
Our towing manager, he's went through several classes and different things on the cars. Even just the way you pick them up can rupture the battery.
Oh, wow.
So we have a select few that we will allow to go tow an electric vehicle, because it's dangerous for them more than anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good vendors that you use? Are some of them local?
Oh yeah. We a lot of our vendors that we use as locals be Napa. We use AutoZone. We try to use as much local as we can, because we're small business right here in Southern Illinois. So if we can give that business to somebody next door, that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
Most everything that we do comes from, I'd say probably Napa's probably our biggest vendor. Truck centers up in Mount Vernon. Our tires all come out of Bridgeton, Missouri. We try to keep it right here.
Right.
nothing's shipped, really.
Is there any feature or addition that you would like to see to the business? Like, do we have a truck wash in our city? I should know this, but I don't.
No, we do not. And there's they've always told me that in the 21 years I've been there, everybody's always says, hey, you need to put a truck wash out there. You need to put a truck wash out there. Vernell had a provision for it. It was actually drawn. It was on paper to put a truck wash back in there. And, you know, he never mentioned why he didn't do it. I mean, in the time that if it would have made sense, he would have done it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why. So I don't ever really look at. I use that as my excuse. Okay. Yeah. That Vernell never done it, so it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I would be curious if it involves 3 letters, EPA.
Yes.
Because I know they're very sensitive to what sloshes and washes off trucks and equipment, so that might be the reason that
there was some reason. Like I said, him and I had several conversations about things. Like I said, when I started there 21 years ago and was a mechanic for him, and that was never brought up. So I just I used that as that's why.
But if you had a say in it, is there something that you would like to add?
As far as what we do, not really. We've grown a little bit. We bought some more property to house our wreckers, just our wreckers, not not move the business. More so, like I want to move up and getting some little bit newer equipment, that type of thing, and that's what we're transitioning into right now. And in the size that we are, and as long as we've been around, I mean it's about a 10-year portfolio to get things where just upgrading your equipment, because you got everything costs so much, and we want to do it smart and effectively. So it's 60 years worth of things that we use stuff that all of the team members have came up with for 60 years. So some of that stuff you can't replace. So, but some of it you have to rebuild or that type of thing. And that's where I would say that we are right now, is just at the point of maybe, I don't know how to word it. We just need to kind of freshen everything up, because we're maintaining, we're doing good. And like I said, the 10-year business plan that I have, then everything it'll be like a restart, as far as equipment wise. Other than that, I would say that, we continue to push on just day to day.
Well, I think no matter what you're running, whether it's, the dry cleaner, the restaurant, the whatever, if you're always investing in equipment.
Yes.
You just have, times change, things break. There's only so many times you can rebuild and refix.
Do you love your job?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Why do you do what you do?
I do what I do. Because I loved working on trucks. I loved taking something that was broken and the satisfaction of repairing it, and taking something that's bad and making it good. And as I was there and as I moved through the ranks and stuff like that, then that just kind of, it's not so much with trucks, but you're, like we said, when you call our business most of the time for the towing or that aspect of it, you're not in a good mood or anything. So it's the same thing. I get the same feeling now of I'm going to make a bad situation a good situation. And that's pretty rewarding.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great. This has been an awesome interview, and I don't think we've had anybody kind of in this category of business, so it's great. But I want to make sure and ask, is there anything that you wanted to get into the interview that we didn't ask you about?
Yeah, I'd say one of the things that we've found, and what actually attracted me to wanting to do this, is the tight-knit community with Marion. We have people, marketing people, we got human resources people that handle a lot of the stuff. But it was whenever we got involved with Chamber and stuff like that and got the help, it's overwhelming, the help. We don't have competitors. We have partners in town.
Good.
And it's really good here. And I mean, Marion really lays that out nice.
Yeah.
And that's something that for years you just kind of depended on the interstate. Mm-hmm. And there was a time when we sat down and said, why don't we need to join the chamber, I guess.
Yeah.
And since then, our reputation has grown tenfold.
That's good. Was there somebody in particular that might have helped you get into the chamber?
Sandy.
Yeah.
Sandy
Okay.
Mann.
Yeah.
Yeah. She came from Channel 3, and she would come over, and I was all about, when she come over to work for us, she would want to talk about how things was where she was at.
Yeah.
And I would always tell her, you're not there anymore. You're not there anymore. This is where you're at.
Yeah.
And then she started using my previous experience, and she has really, really took us to the next level as far as reputation and our relationship with the city of Marion.
That's awesome. That's so good.
I love that. And I do see her out and about. I see
yeah.
a lot of folks from your team out and about, and I think that is the difference maker. And I'll be honest, I get frustrated. Sometimes people will just off the cuff say, well, Marion would be nothing if they didn't have the interstate. Okay, yeah, I mean, the interstate is one facet, but I do think like our investing in downtown, our growth, our collaboration between different businesses, and we have all those resources. We have a strong chamber, we have EThOs, we have all of these things going for us that has nothing to do with the interstate. I mean, it's really the people power that really makes the magic, I think. And so I'm glad that you guys are so active. I think it is, again, kind of talking about your industry, it is somewhat unique to be that plugged in. So kudos to you.
And Vernell is probably one of the only places that still, Vernell, he would just take on, I need to buy a tow truck. Well, now I do towing. Or now, these people need tires. Now I supply tires. And a lot of, it gets kind of hectic because it's several different entities in one. But as long as I can, I'm going to leave it that way because that's the way it was designed and that's the way that it works. I believe that if you start bringing separation or you start branching it off, well, then that's what happens. And then you lose that inner core relationship. Mm-hmm. I just went to Vegas for a Napa convention, and the big thing that they kept speaking on is relationships. And 20 years ago or 19 years ago, whenever Vernell told me, what's the secret? What's the secret? Relationships. And you see that all the way around here. Mm-hmm. I've probably in the last 5 years, you start seeing people, and they want to know what they can do to help you. Mm-hmm. and stuff. And that's what it's going to take as far as small businesses. You got to have the support.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Perfect.
Well, Shawn Hughes, Vernell's Interstate, 60 years in business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you again to our listeners and watchers and supporters of the Small Town Big Business podcast. Shout out to our sponsors, Arcadia Wealth Group, Banterra Bank, Black Diamond Harley Davidson and RV, Fowler Heating and Cooling, the Southern Illinois Now, Swinford Media Group, our producer, Union Street Arts, and that is Luke O'Neill, and also the Watermark Auto Group Foundation. Thank you to them all.
Thanks for being with us today. I hope, like Russ and I, you always find something new out about a local business. And if you enjoy it, please share it with somebody else. I'm Jennifer Olson, Director of Business Development at the City of Marion. You can find me at City Hall. I've stopped saying new because we've been there a year now.
Yeah.
Oh, I just said it. Whoops. Or you can find my contact information on LinkedIn.
And I'm Russell Williams. You can find everything at ethosmarion.org. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Small Town Big Business Podcast.